Caught between two alpha males, my husband and my boss. Hey guys, my name is Lily, and I am here to share how I got sandwiched between my husband and my boss. Both the men in my life are alpha males who would do anything to win at all costs. I was caught between two alpha males. It was a roller coaster ride, to say the least. I never knew that my type was only alpha males. It's like I somehow get attracted to men who can dominate me. I am still unsure if I enjoy being dominated and being miserable, or if I am just a helpless damsel who loves to be in distress. Reflecting on my experiences, I have learned the importance of setting boundaries and prioritizing my own well-being in relationships with strong personalities. I am a writer in the most prestigious newsrooms of the country. Obviously, I am not going to disclose the name of the channel I work for. It would cause a lot of unnecessary attention, which by now I know that I should not be attracting. I take pride in delivering accurate and unbiased information to the public. I strive to uphold the highest standards of journalism. I got this job as an intern and have been working with them ever since. I have been working my ass off so that one day I would be heard and my bosses would help me publish my book. I have seen lots of changes in management and editors till I finally was stuck with an alpha male boss. I knew that it was now time for me to deal with this new boss and let him know that I was patient enough, so it is now time for them to give me my due. I have learned a lot from each boss and editor I have worked with, but now it was time for me to assert myself and make my voice heard. I am confident in my abilities and ready to take the next step in my career. How I ended up in this place starts with something like this. I met the man of my dreams at a party where he was standing aloof, which got me quite intrigued. As I had nothing better to do, I decided to go up to him and try to have a conversation. You see, I believe that every person carries a story with them. My initial plan was just to have a talk which could lead to some interesting story or article that I could write about. I don't know when the conversation became about us, and I forgot the world around me. Before I knew it, we were exchanging numbers and making plans to meet up again. It was a serendipitous encounter that turned into something much more meaningful than I had ever anticipated. I found the man from the party so interesting that I researched him the next day and wanted to get to know him more. He was a brainiac who started his own company, which instantly reached such great heights. He was like a pioneer in his own field. I wanted to do his interview, and so I pestered his office till he agreed to get interviewed by me. His innovative ideas and success story were truly inspiring, and I couldn't wait to learn more about his journey. It was a bit shocking that it took me a lot of time to get a hold of him, given the fact that we really connected in the party. I was a little taken aback that he did not share the same connection that I felt, and maybe that was the reason why he took a long time to finally agree for the interview. I was determined to uncover the secrets behind his entrepreneurial success and share them with others. The interview changed my life forever. I suddenly became a known face in my office for being able to get an interview from a man who kept all the attention away from him. We met after that several times, and every time, he showered me with gifts and such grand gestures that I had no choice but to fall for him. After just seeing each other for 3 months, we decided to tie the knot. Our honeymoon was as grand and romantic as it could get. I could see a change in my reputation at my work after my marriage. There was an elevated respect that I commanded just because I was married to someone influential. It was nice for a change for people to not dismiss my ideas without listening to them. My husband's status and connections opened up new opportunities for me professionally, and I found myself excelling in my career. The support and encouragement he provided only strengthened our bond, making me grateful for the decision we made to marry so quickly. As they say, everything comes with a price, and so did my marriage. At home, my husband is the quintessential alpha male. He is confident, decisive, and protective, qualities that initially drew me to him. His leadership in our household creates a sense of security and stability. However, this same dominant personality can sometimes lead to friction, especially when his way of doing things doesn't align with mine. I always feel like I do more in the relationship than he does. I often feel that I keep pulling this relationship solely on my shoulders. For example, I take care of the house, and I make sure that everything is perfect as per my standards. I try to tell my husband to put in more effort in household activities, which he does, but I am always unsatisfied with his cleanliness, so I end up redoing everything again. Every time I try to put my point across, he makes sure to remind me that I'm never satisfied with his efforts, and often make him look like he is not doing enough. At work, My boss was thankfully not very bothered by my husband and his status. He made sure that my work was what spoke for me. I was glad that at least there was someone who actually criticized me for my mistakes. He made sure that he treated me just like any other employee and made me work hard when needed. I appreciated his professionalism and fairness in evaluating my performance. It was a relief to know that my husband's status did not overshadow my capabilities in the workplace. At times, there would be days where I would be working on a story and had to stay back. My husband was not a fan of me not making it home on time. He liked me to be at home before him and have everything ready for him. That was something that was always a point of friction between us. He felt jealous of me spending more time at work. Sometimes it felt cute and sometimes too irritating. Despite this, I made sure to prioritize my work responsibilities while also trying to maintain a healthy work-life balance. Communication and understanding were key in navigating these challenges in our relationship. I really enjoyed making this balance between work and home. I knew that I thrived when under pressure. I loved the command that I had over my home, that my husband knew that doing anything according to his own will would make me unhappy. Even if I would be away from home, I was confident that he would never try to change things around. It would make me visibly upset if I looked at things being organized and not approved by me. I took pride in the fact that my husband respected my authority in our home. It gave me a sense of control and satisfaction, knowing that things were always in order according to my standards. My boss is such a hard taskmaster that he hardly gave people any space to even breathe. It was difficult to work with him at first, but as days went by and I kind of got a hang of what he was like, it got a bit easier. I knew that whatever I do, I need to make sure to always keep him happy so that he does not yell at me like he does at other people. Eventually, after spending 6 months working together, I guess even my boss got used to my way of working. He hardly complained about anything that I goofed up or made minor changes to, which was very unlike his personality. One day while we were going for a meeting, he called me and asked me what I was wearing. I was taken aback by his question, waiting for an explanation which never came. I replied to him, and he asked me to change it to a sexy dress to impress the clients. Of course, I was offended that he wanted to use me to impress them and not the presentation that I had worked hard on. Nevertheless, I knew that I would have to comply with his demands, or he would give me hell for not listening to him if we did not get the contract. I decided to wear something more professional and appropriate for the meeting, prioritizing my own comfort and self-respect over his inappropriate request. I made sure to assert myself during the meeting and focus on showcasing my hard work and expertise rather than being objectified. I guess that is where my beef with my boss started, if I put it very subtly. After that contract was a disaster, he would text me every time when we went for a meeting demanding me what to wear and what not. I knew that since I goofed up, I had no other choice but to listen to him. I never knew that the people in business would be so shallow to make deals based on clothes and not on the actual details of a proposal. It was a shocking revelation to me. I quickly realized that my boss valued appearances over substance, which clashed with my values. This experience taught me to always be prepared for the unexpected in the business world. It always worked, which was surprising, so I had no choice but to continue to listen to his opinions as he would mostly be right about it. Obviously, he gave me a hard time. I don't know when the texts about dressing for clients shifted to my boss demanding what I wear every day for him. I kind of started enjoying his command over me. It felt nice to dictate the terms, so I never objected to it. It came to a point where he would even suggest the color of my panties and bra, and it never felt weird. I began to feel empowered by his control and found myself eagerly anticipating his instructions each day. However, I eventually realized that this dynamic was crossing a boundary, and I needed to address it. But I was kind of attracted to him and kept telling myself that all this was harmless flirting and would not grow into something more. I knew deep down that I needed to set boundaries and communicate my discomfort, but I couldn't deny the thrill of the attention he was giving me. I told him that I loved dressing up just for my husband, and it would be better if he would back off in a very flirty way. He smiled and told me that he knew how much I enjoyed him instructing me what to wear, which was not a lie. I could not admit that and let him know that I was off limits going forward. He told me that he has no issues if I have a husband or not. All he cares about is me looking good so that he can focus on his work. He did admit that he liked noticing my body while working in the clothes that he had suggested, which gave him motivation. What a weird way to get motivated. How could a woman's body motivate you instead of arousing you? He was definitely weird in a lot of ways. Deep down, it made me blush that my body was a source of motivation for him. He came closer to me and asked me if I had a problem with him taking motivation from my body. He was so close to me that I could hardly speak. I knew in that instant that I would let him do anything to me without even hesitating for a bit. It was as if he could sense what I was feeling. He grabbed my ass and kissed me on my lips without letting go of me. He pushed me to his chair and started taking off my clothes without even waiting for my response. His touch sent shivers down my spine, and I found myself unable to resist his advances. I gave in completely to the passion of the moment, knowing that I wanted him just as much as he wanted me. I realized after our encounter in the cabin that our relationship had changed from strictly professional to something more questionable. I did not know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. I knew that my boss is going to get much more demanding now that a boundary between us has been dropped. I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension about what this shift in dynamics would mean for my career. I resolved to navigate this new dynamic with caution and professionalism to ensure that my work performance wouldn't be compromised. I knew that this needs to be kept as private as possible. If my husband knew about it, then I knew shit would hit the roof, and I was not ready for it yet. I thought that I would enjoy this for a while, and then maybe draw a line and let my boss know that we should stop here. It would be difficult, but not something I thought that I was not capable of. I was stuck between these two alpha males who wanted to have sex every day. There was no way I could deny any of them their needs. I knew that saying no would lead to unnecessary drama and a bad environment for me. I was invited to a party with a +1. My husband insisted that he come with me so that he could pitch his business to a few potential investors. I knew that today was going to be the most difficult day as I would be stuck between my husband and my boss, both difficult men to please. I decided to set boundaries and make it clear to both my husband and boss that I would not be getting involved in any business discussions during the party. I planned to enjoy myself and socialize with other guests instead. I made sure to communicate my intentions to both of them beforehand to avoid any misunderstandings. I was determined to have a stress-free evening and not let their agendas interfere with my enjoyment of the party. I made sure to stay away from both these men and have a night all to myself. I wanted to enjoy myself and have a stress-free night after a really long time. I knew that it was important if I wanted to be sane and continue being sandwiched between them. I spent time with my colleagues and caught up with them after such a long time. It was as if I was missing from their lives for I don't know how long. So much had happened that I was not aware of. Someone suggested that we should play a game so that this night becomes memorable. My boss was upset that I kissed my husband in front of everyone and decided to punish me. I tried to reason with him that Kevin was my husband and it was the right thing to do. I don't know why he was being so stubborn and hurt for no reason. What was he expecting me to do? Did he expect me to forget my husband and kiss him in front of all our colleagues? I did not get the reason he was mad at me. Everything changed between us after that kiss. He made me wear slutty dresses and seduce our clients. As if that wasn't enough, he even made me sleep with some of the big clients by blackmailing me about our affair. My boss promised that he would not make me quit if I followed his instructions. Feeling trapped and humiliated, I struggled with the moral dilemma of keeping my job or standing up for myself. Despite the fear of losing my job, I knew I needed to find a way to escape this toxic situation. My husband found my phone ringing and saw the messages exchanged between me and my boss. Obviously, there were a lot of sexual messages where my boss would choose my panties and bra to wear to the office each day. He would suggest how I should role play and please him at work today. The messages were very suggestive of what we did at work when we were alone. The rage in his eyes was obvious. He was not happy with what he was reading. As I saw him with my phone and the look on his face told me that I was caught red-handed. I immediately felt a wave of panic and regret wash over me as I realized the severity of the situation. I knew that I would have to face the consequences of my actions and find a way to address the inappropriate behavior with my boss. I finally admitted that I was actually having a lot of fun being with my boss. He knew exactly what he wanted and what he enjoyed, which was very opposite to my relationship with him. He said that he always put my happiness and satisfaction above all so that I would know how grateful he was for me being in his life. He said that all he did was to make sure that I was a little less stressed and had fewer things to worry about, and that was the reason why he never forced his likes and dislikes on me. He believed in creating a positive and supportive home environment so that I could thrive and be successful. He thought that he was showing his love and care in this manner, but little did he know that I would think of this as him not being manly and go and sleep with my boss. His intentions were pure, and he only wanted the best for me. but his approach may have inadvertently caused misunderstandings. He said that he was not going to go easy on me anymore. I had seen his love and care, and now he is going to show me how low he could go to show his rage and anger. I was terrified of his anger, as I knew that nothing was going to stop him now from venting his wrath on me. I had never seen him like this before, and it was clear that his emotions had reached a breaking point. The thought of facing his unbridled fury filled me with a sense of dread, unlike anything I had ever experienced. I begged him and told him that I had misunderstood his love, and I am going to do everything I can to make myself worthy of him. I told him I would do anything to make him forgive me. I promised to work on our relationship and make amends for my mistakes, hoping that he would see my sincerity and find it in his heart to forgive me. I vowed to never let our love be tainted by misunderstandings again, determined to prove my commitment to him. He told me that I would have to be genuine and ask for his forgiveness, and maybe then he would slowly come around to forgiving me. Feeling desperate to salvage my marriage, I agreed to his suggestion, hoping that it would eventually lead to reconciliation. The shame and guilt of my actions weighed heavily on me as I tried to navigate this dark and tumultuous situation. I struggled with the conflicting emotions of betrayal and humiliation, unsure of how to escape the web of deceit I had woven. The fear of losing my marriage and facing the consequences of my choices haunted me every day. My husband said that he was going to see if my actions live up to my guilt and actually try to be loyal with him. I knew that this was going to be difficult, as it was going to put my professional life at risk. I was sure that the talk I would be having with my boss would not be something he would be looking forward to. I had to make him understand that my husband was my priority, so I could not continue with this affair anymore. As expected, my boss was furious and told me that if I did not have the courage to take charge of my husband, I should not have taken the bold step of having an affair. I agreed that I was a little excited and lost my path, but now I knew what I value in life and wanted to save it at any cost. He thought for a while and said that he would keep things more secret so that my husband feels a little relaxed, and we could continue what we were doing without making it obvious. He asked me to think about it and get back to him, as ending the affair would mean a lot of damage to my career. I was now at a stage where I knew that I could not let my marriage go down the drain, but at the same time I also knew how important being on good terms with my boss was for my career. I kept thinking about what could be the best approach to make this work in my favor. I took a day to think of all the possible scenarios that could work out in my favor. I figured out that if I planned it meticulously, then I would be able to make it work. I decided to take the challenge of trying to see if I can make it work if I keep the affair a secret from my husband. I knew that I promised him that I would be loyal going forward, but I also knew that I cannot jeopardize my career for my marriage. I weighed the pros and cons of each option and ultimately decided that keeping the affair a secret was the best choice for me. I understood the risks involved, but felt confident in my ability to handle the situation discreetly. I understood the risks involved, but I was willing to take them in order to advance my career. Keeping the affair a secret was a calculated decision I made to prioritize my professional goals. The days going forward were me trying to find the perfect wife, as I did not want my husband to suspect that the affair was still ongoing. It was as if there was a competition between them to see who can push me to do more for them. The demands for sex, attention, and spending time had drastically increased. I was always exhausted trying to meet the demands of both these men. I had no choice but to have sex with my boss at work and with my husband at home. Right in the middle, both would ask me if either was better than the other. I was going crazy in this situation. Initially, it felt great to have ample amount of sex, and also with such passion, which left me satisfied to the core. Slowly, it became more and more draining. I felt trapped between the expectations of my boss and my husband, feeling like I had to please both of them at the expense of my own well-being. The pressure was overwhelming, and I knew that I had to change a few things around before it completely consumed me. My husband agreed to continue with our marriage if I started being a perfect wife. My boss promised me a promotion and a better position if I continued with the affair in secret. I did exactly that. I slept with both of them almost every day. I was emotionally and physically drained, but I kept on going as I wanted to have a secure life. Despite the toll it took on me, I was determined to follow through with their demands in hopes of achieving financial stability. The pressure to maintain my job and marriage drove me to continue down a destructive path. I was sure that all of this would end someday and life would be great again. In the end, I ended up with no job and no husband. It was as if they were laughing at me for being so naive and believing everything that they told me. I feel like such a big loser to expect these narcissistic men to actually put everything behind them and give me another chance. I realize now that I deserve better than to be taken advantage of by manipulative individuals who only care about themselves. Moving forward, I will prioritize my own well-being and surround myself with people who truly value and respect me. It came as a shocker to me that my husband gave me divorce papers as he thought that I was listening to my boss's demands more than his. The same day, I was fired, stating reasons of being unprofessional and seducing my boss. Feeling blindsided and betrayed by both my husband and my employer, I realized that I needed to reevaluate my priorities and make some major changes in my life moving forward. This unexpected turn of events forced me to confront the reality of how my actions were perceived by those closest to me. I mean, did they both discuss and plan this? I did everything that I could to please these men, and what did they do in the end? I felt used, humiliated, and thrown away like an old rag. If I knew that this is how it would end, then I would not have agreed to a lot of things that I did. I am now at a point in my life where there is nothing meaningful left. I had been brutally used by my husband and boss and left dry. I know I was wrong in using both the men, but I sure did not deserve this kind of treatment. I felt like I was used after I thought that I was running the show. I did everything that I was asked to do, but what did I get at the end? Betrayal and loneliness. I feel like I have lost all sense of purpose and direction. It's hard to see a way forward when everything I believed in has been shattered. It was a wake-up call for me to take control of my own happiness and not rely on others for validation. I decided that now I should forget any man and focus on myself. The men in my life have done nothing but betray me in a way that I never expected. I wished and prayed that from now on I don't fall for any man who would be able to make use of me and then throw me away as if I did not matter. I understand that I did break my husband's trust, but that still does not give him the right to throw me away in such a brutal manner. I was so confident in my skills that I would be able to manipulate and make things work in my favor by using these two men. Unfortunately, my plans fell flat on the ground when I was shocked to see that my husband had gone behind my back and decided to get a divorce, and that too by admitting proof of my infidelity so that I get nothing from him. In fact, I was the one who had to pay him for my adultery. And right after my divorce, my boss kicked me out of the office saying that I was using my body to sway people and do my work. It was all bullshit. He was the one using me, but obviously I had no proof of it. No one believed me after they got to know that I got a divorce because I cheated on my husband. My boss played really well and used my divorce as an excuse to cover his ass and get me out of his life. I was left penniless after paying everything to my husband with no job that could help me earn a living. Anyone who is in the same situation as me, I would suggest to just run and save yourself. It gives you thrills initially, but trust me, it is not worth it. Thank you all for taking the time to read my story and be a part of my journey. Your support would help me come out as a stronger person. I am so glad for everyone being so sweet and not being judgmental about my actions.